Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And there is this fly that keeps on flying by my head, and it reminds me of that children's book. Do you guys remember that children's book back in the day called, I think it's called A Fly Goes By, or I don't know, Fly on the Wall. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Anyway, I actually had an idea for a book years ago that I was going to write called Fly on the Wall or something like that. Fly's Eye, or I don't remember, but I have it written down and outlined somewhere. But anyway, I leave the back door open when the dogs are outside. They just run around, and Boo and Tucker run in and out, and I could have the screen door closed, but then they couldn't run in and out. And I just like leave it open while I'm doing dishes or cleaning the kitchen or whatever. And so we always are getting flies or bees or whatever in the house. And now they're just our friends. They're part of our family now. Okay, today I want to read two meditations to you. These are meditations that I haven't already read today. The first one is from the Daily Book of Positive Quotations by Linda Picone. August 17th, Adventure. Make voyages, attempt them. There's nothing else. Tennessee Williams. Most of our life, we're advised to live cautiously, to buckle our seatbelts, to look both ways before crossing a street, to save money, to stay in school, to eat healthy foods, to get regular checkups. Avoiding foolish risks is, of course, good advice. Still, we can't grow unless we take some risks. Occasionally, we need to take advantage of one of the adventures that life offers us. I want to be able to look back and know that I didn't just plod through my life. I had an adventure. It so reminds me of that movie Up. Did you ever see that movie? Alex and I went and saw it like our first year that we were together, I think it came out. And I remember because it's so, like, that day I needed like a message from my mom. I don't know if you've ever, you know, lost somebody, you'll know what I'm talking about. I just needed some kind of like, I needed reassurance. I needed to feel that, you know, I don't know. So anyway, we went and saw that movie, and there's a part in that movie where, okay, so it's about this guy and his wife dies, and then he goes on this adventure and he puts balloons on the top of his house and it floats everywhere. And it was really meaningful to us because one of the things that he does is he goes over Angel Falls in Venezuela. Well, my husband is from Venezuela, and he had told me about like wanting to take me to Angel Falls and things like that. So that was really, really cool. And, but we're in the movie, and I'm just kind of sitting there, you know, eating my popcorn and my candy, drinking my Mr. Pibb, probably, and, or whatever. And, we always take our candy. Do you take your candy? Oh my God, we always sneak candy in. But then we get popcorn, and he gets a large Coke or water, and I do too, and so it's $50 before you leave the movie theater. It's ridiculous these days. Do you remember when the movie was so cheap? Oh my God. So anyway, you could go to a movie, get popcorn and a drink and a candy, I mean, seriously, for less than $10, maybe even $5. Okay, so anyway, but we were in this movie, and I didn't actually think I was going to talk about this today. And it's about this guy whose wife dies, and at some point he's going through this scrapbook, and it's always pictures of all these adventures that they had together and their life together and things like that, because life is an adventure, you know? And at the end of it, he finds this note from her, and it says something to the effect of, "Thank you for the adventure, now go have an adventure on your own." And that was like, to me, the message that day that I so needed to have with my mom, or from my mom, you know, or just in life, I needed to hear that. I don't know, it just was such a great message for me that day. And I am such a believer that we all need to take adventures. And next week, we're getting ready to go to Las Vegas for our anniversary. We've been married 8 years, and we will have been together 11 years next week. And so I'm so, so excited. And, you know, last night, so my mom's best friend is in town visiting, and we're going to go have dinner with her tomorrow night. I'm so excited. And, you know, I talked a lot about it on my vlog. But I got off there, and I was kind of thinking about, like, you know, all of the people that have come into my life, all of the people that I've met, all the places that I've been, you know, and it doesn't have to be really, like, deep places. You know, I was thinking about, like, the pageant that I judged this summer. That was probably, for me, one of the most life-fulfilling, enjoyable moments that I have ever had in my life. You know, I met some of the greatest people, and I just was, like, I just had such a great time, and I can remember coming home that night and just bawling my eyes out, being like, I can't believe it's over, you know? And what that made me realize was I needed to get more involved. I needed to get more involved in things in life and meet new people and, you know, and live a life, you know? we were talking to a friend of Alex's not too long ago. We went to a birthday party with her, and she's very, very involved in Indianapolis, and she's in all these organizations, and she sits on the boards of all these things. And if you met her, you would think, you know, like, oh, she's just somebody that everybody would ask to be on a board. And so I was talking to her, and I said, how is it that you got on all these boards, you know? And she said, well, it's interesting. She said, I moved back here. She'd grown up here. So I moved back here, you know, after going to grad school, and I was like coming home every night, watching Netflix, reading books, and I was lonely, you know, and I was in my early 30s, 30s, and she was like, you know, I was lonely. And she was like, so I started getting involved in these like young professionals groups, and I met everybody, and she said Indianapolis is, you know, not a huge city, and so somebody would say, hey, I think you'd be perfect for this board, or I think you'd be perfect for that board, or we're gonna go do this, or, you know, charity thing, or whatever. And she just got real involved, and now she's super involved in Indianapolis, you know, and I think that's so cool to me. Like, and Alex and I were talking on the way home about how we need to do that. Like, we need to be more involved. And there was a time that I was very involved like that. The problem is that I was so involved that I almost didn't have any time for myself, you know, and now I'm kind of selfish of my time, of wanting to read books and hang out with my friends and go get a fountain pop with my good Judy and go on a trip with my husband and things like that. But, you know, you don't have to, like, go to Las Vegas or, you know, go to Hawaii or France or Tahiti or wherever, I don't know, you know, Tokyo for a grand adventure. You know, you don't have to take a cruise around the world, which would be nice, right? But, you know, you can just go get lost, you know, and where you're at. Just say, I'm going to drive south today an hour. You can go on an adventure by yourself. You can go on an adventure with one of your friends. You can take your dog, you can take your cat, I guess, you know, and you can just go on an adventure. Listen to an audiobook while you're doing it. Listen to some good music. You know, make a playlist just for that journey, just for that adventure for the day. Or maybe you do want to go on a weekend road trip. You know, there's places all around us that I have wanted to go for a long time. And one of the places I wanted to go is the Sleepy Bear Dunes in northern Indiana. I went there as a kid with my parents. This is when my parents were still together, so I must have been real young. And we stayed up there by the lake, because it's on Lake Michigan. And I remember like running down the dunes, and I have a picture of me like so excited running down the dunes. Well, my brother-in-law, okay, he and his girlfriend recently, a couple years ago, moved to San Diego. So they came to Indiana for her family to meet up close to the the Sleepy Bear Dunes, and they rented a house, and I looked at this house. This house was like in-ground pool across from the beach at Lake Michigan, which is beautiful. You know, in this little small town, but 10 minutes from the Sleepy Bear Dunes. They did all of it, right? Here I have been pining away to do this since I was 10 years old, right? Wanting to do this again. And they did it on a family trip. And I looked, and these houses are so reasonable, so beautiful, so fun. And I thought, this is, I mean, like if we went with like 2 other couples or something, it would literally cost us like $100 a night. I mean, that's cheaper than any hotel room that we've ever stayed in, you know? So I think about that. It's like, adventure and journey does not have to be expensive whatsoever. You know, I also believe in the whole idea of being an armchair traveler, and that you can get a book and you can watch a movie and you can travel all over the world just, you know, through books and movies. So, I don't know, when are you going to start your adventure? Have you been sitting there every day in and day out and you think to yourself, my life is so boring, what's next? You don't have to have some grand trip. But if you can't afford it and you haven't been doing that, why not? Schedule that trip that you've been wanting to do. Get away, you know? I think one of the things that is so good for couples, I really, really believe this, is going on vacations together, because it's isolated time that you have with that person alone. I am so excited next week to get on the plane, fly to I mean, part of the fun for me is the flight. You know, I don't like to fly, I don't love it, but part of the fun for me is like, okay, what movies are we gonna watch, and, you know, flying there, and then like getting there, and like sitting by the pool. I cannot wait, going out to dinner, spending the week with my husband, you know, just the 2 of us. Well, his cousin too, and some other friends of ours are gonna be out there, but I'm excited about it. I mean, it's just us isolated away from all of this and everything, you know, on a daily basis, and him having meetings and all of that. You know, it's going to be really, really nice, and I'm excited about it. And so I think we all need that, you know. You can also take a little adventure at home, you know. Say, I'm going to watch all of these movies in this series. I'm going to turn off the phone. I'm not going to check my phone, and I'm just going to be part of that. You know, there's all different ways that you can, see, always thinking. You got to always be thinking. There's so many different ways that you can come up with adventure, you know, on your own. So I think that's a great meditation. Okay, I gotta remember that too. The next, and life is short, you know, this is not a dress rehearsal. There may not be a chance for an adventure in a week. There just might not be, you know. And that's where gratitude comes from again. I'm so grateful for the life I have today that I can take an adventure, you know, whether it's at home or somewhere far away. Okay, then I'm gonna read from Journey to the Heart by Melody Beattie. And it's from August 17th, Let the Shifts Happen. And I don't know anything about this, I haven't read it. I listened as the tour guide explained the crack, the huge gaping rupture in the Earth's surface as we traveled along Bryce Canyon. My mind traveled back to an earthquake that shook Southern California in January 1994. Earthquakes are reminders that life shifts, moves, changes places. Sometimes the shifts are gradual and begin slowly, like the gaping holes in Bryce Canyon that started with a tiny split. Sometimes, as in the California earthquake, the shift happens in an instant. We don't know in advance about and can't plan for the shift. Somebody's texting me. Hold on a second. It's my husband. He's like, can I open the garage door? I say, give me 2 minutes. He's so sweet. Okay. We don't know in advance about and can't plan for the shift. But there's one thing we can count on. Just as nature shifts and moves into new shapes and forms, so do we. Sometimes our shifts happen suddenly. Other times, they take place over years, beginning almost imperceptibly. As we move into increased self-awareness, we will become more aware of these shifts. We'll know, see, and feel when they're taking place. We may not know where they're leading, but we'll know something's afoot. The more we value and trust life, the more we can count on these shifts. Boo Riley, just look at this. He is so sweet. Can you guys even see it? He just is sitting right here now. Okay. As other times, they take place over years, beginning almost imperceptibly. As we move into increased self-awareness, we will become more aware of these shifts. We'll know, see, and feel when they're taking place. We may not know where they are leading, but we'll know something's afoot. The more we value and trust life, the more we can count on these shifts to lead us forward and trust a new shape being formed in our lives. The more flexible we become, the more we allow for these shifts and work with them instead of getting against them, the easier they will be. I love this so much. Life is always moving, changing, shifting into its next shape. The movement is natural. It is how we, this is, you guys, I have to just tell you, I have to show you this. This is absolutely adorable. While I'm reading this, and I feel so calm and peaceful, Boo Radley is just like, he just like came up here and just like sat with me, like, and just like is hanging out. He's so sweet. Life is always moving, changing, shifting into its next shape. The movement is natural. It is how we evolve. Let the shifts happen. Take responsibility for yourself each step of the way. Trust the new shape and form of your world. And I love that. You know, and as I was reading that meditation, it was weird. I became more peaceful reading that meditation, which is what often happens when I read these, you know. I so believe in the transitions of life. You know, I heard years and years ago that you'll go through many, like 9 transitions in your life, and that you're constantly evolving and constantly changing. I'm not somebody that loves change, but I've learned to accept it, and I've learned to even kind of like it and get excited about it to some degree. And I think that's why I don't like it. It scares me. You know, I always had a lot of fear, and so fear of change is one of those huge things for me. But change is good. Transition is good. And, you know, often we don't know what the next thing is right around the corner. It could be the best friend that we've never met, the most amazing journey in our life, you know, or it could be just a really cool new kind of ice cream that we've tried that we've never tried before. So, you know, but transition, huge transition in our lives, sometimes our blessings in disguise, they sometimes come disguised in ways that we don't like. And then later we turn around, we look and we go, yep, I get it now. So anyway, let me know what you guys think about those meditations. I hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.